Good morning students, welcome to another class of science. So today we will start the new topic of chapter 4, soil erosion and soil conservation. But before starting our new topic, let's quick revise the previous topics. Okay, so in our last class we started a new chapter, that is soil erosion and conservation, where we discussed about what is soil and why soil is so important to us. So what is soil? Soil is an important natural resource present on earth. And why it is so important to us? Because it provides minerals and nutrients to the soil, right? And also soil is a shelter to many organisms. Okay, so then we discussed about how soil is formed and what is soil erosion. Okay, what is soil erosion? The removal of top layer of soil by wind or flowing water is known as soil erosion. So the main causes of soil erosion are that wind and flowing water, but human activities also causes the soil erosion. For example, deforestation, overgrazing, right? So today we will discuss how do we prevent soil erosion. So today we will be discussing about the soil conservation. Okay, so let's start.
Okay, let's see how we can conserve the soil, right? So, what do you mean by soil conservation? It is the process of protecting soil against erosion is called soil conservation, right? So, we know that the soil that we see around us has taken thousands of years to form. So, fertile soil is very precious and we need it to grow crops and maintain our forest. So, we must take good care of soil. So, let us see some methods of conservation of soil, right? Okay. So, first is afforestation. So, it is the process of planting trees on barren land. Such as hill slopes. So, it greatly helps in preventing soil erosion. So, we must plant more trees, provide better vegetation cover to the exposed soil, right? So, it is an attempt to develop new forest-like area. And another one is reforestation. So, what is reforestation? So, it is a systematic attempt to revive a damaged forest region. Reforestation is done mainly by planting trees that naturally grow in the forest region. So, a successful reforestation revives a forest which has been damaged. Alright, so let us see next step or next method to conserve the soil, that is terrace farming. So, what is terrace farming? So, farming done on the cut slopes of hill, right? So, you can see here. Yeah, you can see the terrace farming here, right? So, what happens in hilly regions? Crops are cultivated on the slopes of hills. If a slope of a hill is cleared for farming, the rainwater would flow downwards with force and wash away most of the fertile layer of the topsoil. So, such a land would not be suitable for farming, right? So, in hilly regions, farmers convert hills into steps to grow the crops. So, the steps reduce the flow of water and prevent soil from being washed away. Such farms are known as terrace farm. Are you getting my point? So, to reduce the erosion, the hill is cut into many small flat parts called terraces, and at the outer edge of every terrace, what they do, a low mud or stone wall is built, जिसे हम bund कहते हैं. This is called bund, and the terraces reduce the flow of water, right? So, what are the advantages of terrace farming? That it reduces the force of rainwater and prevents soil from being washed away. And second is rainwater fills up each step and the plants are able to absorb water. All right. Now next is building bunds. So what do you mean by this building bunds? So many a times what happen, river water enters the nearby land and fills and causes soil erosion. So, bunds are the low mud or stone boundaries built along the streams and small rivers that are close to fields, and these bunds do not let the water enter the fields and thus prevent soil erosion, right? So, bunds work as barriers and prevent river water from flowing with force into lands adjacent to the river. Okay. clear? So next method is cover crop. So what do you mean by this cover crop? So sometimes just after a crop is harvested and before the next one is sown, the soil remains bare, and at such time there is a possibility of soil erosion, right? So what farmers do, farmers grows a crop to cover his land until the new crop is sown. Such crops which are grown to prevent soil erosion are called cover crops. Some types of grasses and pulses are often grown as cover crops. So cover crops are mostly used as cattle feed. Okay, cattle feed for grazing the cattles. All right. Okay, and the last method is shelter belts. So what do you mean by shelter belts? You can see here shelter belts. So planting lines of trees to create shelter also works in a similar way. Okay, so in this, trees and shrubs are planted along the edges of the fields, and these are called shelter belts. Okay, so these shelter belts have contributed significantly to the stabilization of sand dunes and in stabilizing the desert in western India. Right, so these plants reduce the force of wind and water and are known as shelter belts. This strip farming. So what is this strip farming? Large fields can be divided into strips, and strips of grass are left to grow between the crops. This breaks up the force of wind. So that's all about soil conservation, and our chapter is completed. So if you face any doubt in any of the topic, you can ask me in the class. Okay, bye everyone, take care, have a nice day.